Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to book the huts along the Alta Via 1 route in the Italian Dolomites. I just got back from doing this hike in September and it was awesome, and I remember that I wish I had a video to show me how to book the huts, and so I thought it would be helpful to put one together myself. Now, for this video, I assume that you've already read about the hike, you already know what it is, what to pack, how to get there, so I'm not going to dive into that in this video. Instead, in this video, I'm just going to focus on how to prepare and organize yourself for booking the huts, how to visualize the huts along the map, and how to actually go about booking the huts, going from each website to one another, and what to do if you can't get your first choice hut. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, the first step is to get organized. And what I mean by that is to have an idea of which huts you want to book based on how many days you want to spend on the trail. Now, most people hike the Alta Via route between 8 and 10 days. And so you can look online to see if there are lists on what are the basic huts that you should hit for an 8-day itinerary, a 9-day itinerary, or a 10-day itinerary. And just Google this, you will find it easily. Say, for instance, I want an 8-day hut. Moon and Honey have a good website which will show you, okay, these are all the stages, these are the huts that you can stay on along the route. If you want to do 10 days, there are also great blog posts for that. Or you can ask ChatGPT, and it can come up with a good starting list for what are the huts do you want to book for maybe a 10-night hike. I did it in 8 days, and so that's what I'm going to show you as an example. And I put together this nice table, which I found helpful to show, okay, what's the date that I want to actually book the hut on? What's the hut name? Is it available? And where's the link to the booking? And having all of this in one place helps me stay organized as I'm navigating 8 different websites. And you'll see in a little bit why that's important. Okay, the second step is to visualize the huts that you've chosen along the map. Moon and Honey have this great blog which shows all of the huts along the Alta Via 1 route. And I find that visualizing the huts that you've chosen helps you identify just where you're going to be walking to in a line, and also shows you what alternative huts might be in case the hut that you've chosen as a first option is unavailable. And what I like to do is, based on the list that you have, to mark the huts along the hike. And so I'll show you what that looks like. I'm going to create a copy of this map, and I'll link this map in the video so you can see it as well. But my first night, you'll notice, is at the Pederu Rifugio. This is along the hike. These are all pre-hike ones. First hike is the Pederu Rifugio. So in this copy of my map, I am going to try to find Rifugio Pederu. Pederu, there it is. Rifugio Pederu. And I'm just going to mark it as black, so you can see it very clearly. The second night that I'm spending is in the Scotoni Hütte. That is over here. And so I'm going to mark this in black as well. And then the third night that I'm spending is in Rifugio Nuvolau. And I believe that is down here. Yes. And so now, just based on looking at this map, I can see my first night is in the black, second night is in the black, and the third night is in the black. And if for some reason my first choice hut is unavailable, I may be able to go to this hut, maybe I'll shorten the day and go to this hut, or maybe I'll lengthen the day and go to this hut. Alternatively, maybe I'll be able to walk to this hut if this one's unavailable, or choose this alternative hut at Avarau if Nuvolau is unavailable. And so I'll go through and mark every hut along the route, just so I have a visual to see, okay, these are my alternatives, and also this is where I'm going to be walking. Okay, the third step is now to actually reserve the huts. Start by opening up the website links for all of the huts along the trail. And you should try to reserve the huts along the trail before you do any pre-hike accommodation, because these are the ones that are going to be in highest demand and hardest to book. And so you should make sure that you get reservations there, because you're always going to be able to find accommodation in the towns of Debaccio or another place before. So opening up each one of the links for your first choice huts, and getting them all in order. And for the purpose of this exercise or video, I'm going to show you an example of 3 huts. It's early in the season, so I can't actually get into all of the huts haven't opened up their booking websites, but I know these 3 have. And so I'll show you an example of how I would go about booking these. So I have 3 websites open for Rifugio Città di Fiume, Tissi, and Bruto Carestiato. And I want to book on September 6th, 7th, and 8th. So I've opened up those links to Città di Fiume, Tissi, and Rifugio Carestiato. So for each one, I'm now going to go and try to find availability for those dates. And so right now, each one will have a booking option. And oftentimes they'll be in a different language. So that's a little bit frustrating. But let's look at, so remember the date that we wanted to go was September 6th, Città di Fiume, September 6th. And it looks like they don't have availability, probably because they haven't opened up their website yet, but let's just assume they don't have availability. I'm now going to check Rifugio Tissi, and you'll notice that this is, I believe, in English. I'm going to list when I'm arriving, checking out on the 8th, 1 person. And great, it looks like they do have availability. So I know they have availability. And I'll mark that down. This is Rifugio Tissi. They have availability. And then I'll try one last one. And sometimes they have English language websites. So it's always, if you speak English, this is helpful. And I'm going to now go to reservations 2025. And now I'm looking for September 8th. So I'm trying to line up these 3 dates. September 2025 and September 8th. Checking out on the 9th. And perfect. It looks like they have availability here as well. So what I've just done, and this is what you would do for all 8 of the nights, in the case that you're doing an 8-day hike, all 8 of the refugios, you'd go to their website and check, do you have availability? Because it's difficult to line up all 8 or all 9 or all 10 nights in a row. You want to confirm whether they have availability before you go about booking anything. And the reason that is because most huts require a non-refundable deposit. And so you want to really make sure you have all your dates lined up before you book the thing, or else you might get in some trouble. Okay, so we've seen that we can get into 2 out of the 3 huts that we wanted for our dates. But we were unable to get into Rifugio Città di Fiume because it was unavailable for September 6th. So let's now see how we would look at an alternative hut to try to work around that. So I'm going to go to my map and I'm going to look up Città di Fiume and just see where it is on the map. And for this date, it looks like there's another hut that's just a little bit further from my previous hut, which was up here. So if I scroll down into it, this seems like a pretty good alternative contender. This one might also be a contender. It looks like another Rifugio. It wasn't marked on the map, but that doesn't mean that it's not possible. But for now, I'm just going to look up, okay, Rifugio Stellanza. Now, one thing that I always wondered was, how much further is this from the hut that I'm actually trying to book? Using this map, you can sort of guess at it by clicking into it. You can say, okay, this is a 10-kilometer route. I know that this looks like it's maybe, I don't know, a third of the way through. So maybe it's another 3 kilometers further. That's not really a great way. So what I would usually do is I would just Google what the route I would be taking is. And so I know that the previous day, I was staying at Rifugio Nuvolau. And so my hike that day would be Nuvolau to Città di Fiume. And the Alta Via route is broken up into stages. And so most people, when they're writing a blog, write about the different stages they've taken. So if you look up Alta Via 1 route, Rifugio Nuvolau to, is it Città di Fiume? I think that's the one we want. Let's go back. Distance. Yeah, you can see section 4, Città di Fiume, it looks like it takes, it's 14.8 kilometers. And it took this person 4.5 hours to get there. So instead of that one, you can say, okay, has anyone else done this route going to Passo sta Lanza? Because usually if someone else has done it, that gives me hope that that's also a valid connection point to make. And so Rifugio Passo sta Lanza, it looks like someone has done this route as well. Stage by Nuvolau to Passo sta Lanza. It looks like it's 16.2 kilometers. And you can learn a little bit more about how far that one is. It looks like many people have done this route, so this is a good contender for an alternative. And that would be a way to research. Now, just because it's a contender doesn't mean that it's available. So that's where you would want to then go in and look, okay, do they also have availability? And again, this is an Italian website, so let's go and we'll translate it to the English one. Bear with me while I try to book this. I am looking to go from 2025, September 6th to 2025, September 7th. Perfect. Crap. 2025, September 7th. Let's see if they have anything available. And it looks like they do. So there's a spot available in a dormitory. And now I can go back and I can say, okay, this one is actually available. But instead of Città di Fiume, we have Sta Lanza left. And so that would be a way in which I went through and try to found all 8 days that would line up for me. And this using the map as an alternative to kind of assess where are the different huts that might be secondary backup huts, since those were sometimes difficult to find. Hopefully this video was helpful in showing you how to book the huts along the Alta Via 1 route. I know it can be challenging and a slog to get all of the ones that you want for the dates to line up, but trust me, you can do it if you're patient, and it will work out. And if you do the hike, you'll have an absolute blast. So best of luck, and if you have any questions, just let me know.